完了，来不及推到3个，终于推到4个，这边的空。又是一个2打3的画面，去碰壁了。
电竞出手就要被离开一个前4，完了，旁边的 Rock 看起来被打得好，
但是自己被这个线给弹回来，又是 Alex 的一个壁咚。准备要在这一波将这波人全员冲掉。
差了一个位置，又是第3个，我的天啊！
然后拿了一个拉手，还持续的追击。现在的话，要得到的 triple，
这一波手上挂了一个治愈，落地一个治愈之后就被点输了。
再一个红丸的一个推，拿着主导毛病的效果把小林给推了回来。
And welcome back, everybody, to the PCS Summer Split. 2 games up now for J Team. A rough start to that first one, but they absolutely stomped in game number 2. We'll see if they can close this out here or MFT are coming back. Before we do that, though, I do want to talk about our wonderful sponsor, CTBC Bank. They have always been by our side, but they are now joined by China Airlines as a sponsor for the PCS Summer Split playoffs. Now, Mr. Nightstar, we've been hashing out how MFT gets back into this one. Well, one thing that they are changing up coming into this game is they're swapping mid lanes. We've got Wen back in the mid.
Yeah, and while I do think Hong2 has been the better laner and plays more of the meta picks, such as the Azir Sylas, Wen, I feel like if Wen was on that Galio, he definitely just waits down into that bot lane for the overcommit coming in from the side of J Team, and then comes in with the Galio ultimate. So, you know, it might just be Hong2 not quite as familiar. But with Wen in, we should see more of a focus on that Galio, onto the Talia, and also onto the Vex.
Yeah. So it does change the calculus a little bit in the pick ban. And I think some of the other things we want to see out of MFT in this game, they will be on the red side, their own selection on the red side, is to maybe not ban out Kongye, because he still was fine on the Sejuani. That's 5 bans at the jungle.
And it wasn't like 665 was able to get much done with the Viego denial as well, right? Had some nice early game plays, but Viego, again, I just don't think is that great of a champion when you look at all the other available champs in the jungle pool that can have more impact. And it's not a knock onto Viego necessarily, it's just that his numbers have dropped so considerably, just doesn't do damage. Even when you get the resets, like the resets is the key part, but you can't get to the reset point if you can't get those kills.
Yeah, the Ruined King got ruined. Well, we're into picks and bans for for the game 3, I should say. Poppy Wukong taken out by J Team. This time they're the ones who are hitting the jungle pool hard. And MFT back to banning Kalista as they are on the red side.
And MFT, this organization has not yet pulled a playoff victory. They are so far 0-8. Both of their playoff series last split were 0-3, and right now 0-2. They need to find the magic recipe to put themselves onto the board.
Yeah, that loss in game 1 was a heartbreaker, right? They had a lot going for them, but somehow J Team woke up, came back into this one. Aphelios is left open. MFT aren't banning it. They do ban the Vi away. I do think that is not a bad ban, but Lil V has been able to rock the Aphelios. However, J Team are going to potentially opt for something different in their first pick.
Yeah, the Sylas pick I think makes a lot of sense, because even if Wen does pick one of those big roaming champions, as I mentioned before, the Sylas will also be able to do the same. So I feel like this was a bit of a misread coming in from MFT in their game 3 bans. I would have much rather have either the Aphelios take off the table to put Lil V on a different sort of champion, or go ahead ban away that Sylas pick. Does mean Sylas or the Azir still left available, and it makes sense to pair with the Azir with the Aphelios, but again, I like the other options we mentioned before, and yet another Viego pickup coming in for MFT. Again, I don't really like the Viego pick in the current meta. There's just too much durability and not enough ability to reset.
We'll be back on the Pantheon, baby. This is going to be Konge's second go at it. And if it was the game that he was able to help J-Team win against Megabank Beyond Gaming in the upper bracket, and that's also going to be a lock for rock. The Gwen comes through. So a lot of power, a lot of sticking power on this J-Team side, as MFT will get their final pick of the first rotation.
If they want to go for a counter pick here, I would really love to see the Jax come through for Taco. Just get the reverse matchup. It is a bit of a counter pick against the Gwen. And Gwen actually goes for the Ahri, which I am a little bit surprised about. And perhaps this is just one of those instances where, hey, I don't want to pick a global because Silas is just going to take it away. So I'm going to go ahead, lock myself in this Ahri pick, and try and, out-roam the Silas.
It's a very squishy composition, though. I do still question the Viego pickup because there were other tank jungles available, and we'll see what MFT have got cooking here. They banned the Lucian away, not going to give Lil V an opportunity to get that Lucian Nami lane going. It would be very aggressive once again. And they also take away the Jinx. But J-Team have banned Jax themselves.
I like the Jinx ban, knowing that, hey, one of the previous handshakes was the Aphelios Jinx.
Yeah,
Switch
but
off,
Zeri's up.
Yeah, in this instance, Zeri still left available for Lil V. Most likely he goes ahead, picks that. But if a J-Team, they land on to engage support, when you do play a Zeri without one of those Lulu or Yumi enchanters, it really caps the carry potential of the Zeri.
Yeah, that's something that we haven't really seen a lot of teams do with Zeri in the PCS. It's found success in other regions just because of that, and perhaps that is the change it for J-Team. We'll have to see if that's the option, if they try for something completely different. Camille gets locked in for Taco.
There we go.
Up against the Gwen, and there we go.
Yeah, we finally get the pick power coming in from the top lane. Taco landing himself onto the Camille. For J-Team, it almost certainly has to be the Zeri pick, unless if they want to go for something like, the Samira. I think Samira would be really fun. Ooh. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Hey, the 2 games up. Let's go. That's going to be a very confident setup. The kill lane. Samira and Nautilus. J-Team packing some surprises at the final hurdle. How does MFT respond to this?
For MFT, you really have no protection for your Aphelios, and I love the answer coming in from J-Team because, hey, if they want to go for a pick comp with Viego, Ahri, Camille, and just isolate one target and dive onto our AD carry, make sure Lil V isn't able to participate in the fight, put him on Samira where he's diving in with the rest of us. And now, MFT, I like the choice with the Braum, since they are very low range on the side of J-Team. The ultimate's going to find a lot of value. Perhaps that's enough to keep the Aphelios alive, but that's something we'll have to see once we actually get into game. It was either that, maybe they throw in a Tom Kench, or perhaps they throw in the Lulu, and Braum's the pick they ended up with.
I think the Braum makes a lot of sense from a anti-dive perspective. Lulu could have worked out, but you want a little bit of extra stats straight up, a little bit more readily available defense, that unbreakable on a lower cooldown, of course, not being an ultimate. So looking across the board, it does seem like J-Team came in with a good strategy for game number 3, getting very aggressive, getting very in your face. Across the board, I don't think MFT were quite ready for that. We'll have to see if it makes a difference in game.
At the very least, I still like the fact that they eventually pivoted to the Camille. I think they should have gone towards that in the previous game. And for Taco, I feel like he has to eventually win one of these lanes. If they're able to get that, that might make the difference here. But once more, we're going to be having a more pick-centric composition coming in from the side of MFT that they kind of tried to carry over from that previous game. And we'll see if they have a better read on it this time around.
Yeah, MFT, they're going to have to find something deep within themselves to get the win. They have not been able to find a playoff victory, and they have not been able to find a win in the summer split against any of the teams above them in the standings. Could it happen right here, right now? They will need it if they want to keep their hopes alive in the playoffs. It is do or die right now. 2-0 match point for J-Team, looking to move forward in the lower bracket.
J-Team looking to seal things up in game number 3. It was a very powerful statement coming in from them. Game number 2, as they end the game the same amount of time as it took for them to get kills. So
Yes.
I would say that helps relieve a lot of the concerns that J-Team fans had.
Yeah, there was a lot to worry about, not just in that game 1, but in the series previous up against Megabank Beyond Gaming, who are admittedly a team that can be very tricksy. They have a lot of comeback mechanics. They have a lot of unexpected things. But speaking of unexpected, I didn't quite think that Lil V was going to go in this direction. However, with the Samira, that is going to be a very fun lane to watch. Let's talk it through. Let's talk that 2v2.
Yeah, definitely a lot of kill threat, especially when you pair it up with the Nautilus. So once the CC lands, you're just able to jump straight on in. And there's a lot of CC in this composition. A lot of point and click. Kongrye, Uniboy, Enzo. They're going to set things up really nicely for Lil V. So it's not like this Samir pick is just out of left field. They had the prep to actually succeed with this. And Taco or Rock, once again, finding a great level 1 trait.
Yeah, Rock has definitely been on point this series. Taco will need to find an answer. Does have a little more sustain, as he does have the Grasp of the Undying to work with for himself, but getting zoned out on farm. And now it's going to get a little worse for him. Level 2 Kongrye gank coming through on this Pantheon.
Point and click.
Doesn't have the flash immediately. The jump, not much he can do about that. Easy peasy first blood for Kongrye.
Yeah, and Rock sets it up really, really nicely. Taking that aggressive level 1 trade means that Kongrye pretty much can one-shot Taco in that instance. So he comes up at level 2, which is not a traditional gank timer coming in from our junglers. But when you're playing a Pantheon, you've got more than enough damage at level 2 to secure yourself the kill and also have the setup.
It's a nice type of champion for Kongrye who wants to get into a carry position. He earns himself that kill. Really nice as he can jump in on the shield vault. As you said, point and click, really not much you can do about it as Taco. He don't even know if he had access to his hook shot just yet.
Nope.
And he certainly isn't packing the flash. So first blood early in this game. We'll see what the answer is going to be from MFT. 665 does get a camp advantage in exchange for it, but I don't know if that's going to matter much.
Will be able to get himself the Scuttle Crab, and this should be them playing around double Scuttle in this instance. But they might want to continue hovering top lane because of the fact that they were also able to get the crash on to that wave top side, and that means Taco, his wave's going to be bouncing away from him. So it's a pretty precarious situation, but MFT, they go ahead, secure themselves the double crab, and also get vision that Kongrye is in this bottom half of the map, which means Taco, at the very least, in a comfortable spot to try and crash that wave on his own.
Yep, the info 665 is going to back away. Kongrye continues to complete the farm up. We'll check in back down bot. Let's see what's happened. Lil V did take a little bit of damage early on, it seemed. Hasn't gone all in on the play just yet. Of course, want to watch for level 6 on Samira, as always.
Yeah, and there's more than enough
sustain
sustain as well, right? You have 3 pots ticking, so definitely a lot of health potions, even with the nerf onto it. Now they're setting up possible bot.
Get the hook onto Issue.
Diego's coming.
Breakable. This is the long play for both teams right now. Straight 3v3. They look for it. Issue forced to flash out. They burn the heal and ignite as well. Enzo's going to live through this. And 665 arrives a little too late to do much, but just send a Blade of the Ruin King that way. Kongrye still fishing for a play. 665 finds him on the Spectral Maw, but that will be the end of it for now.
Yeah, unfortunately, because of the size of this wave, the side of MFT aren't able to go for more.
Oh, and the bait was real, and that's going to be well taken. Oh, so low finally falls down as Lil V finds the last auto attack, and Issue will go down as well. Excuse me, it's Lil V who falls. 665 to try and clean things up as he takes over Samira, gets one, but can't get that third. So 665 makes something out of that play, but it is Kongye that stands up at the end.
A huge trade down in that bottom lane. Not quite enough coming in from the MFT jungler to secure all three. It's a 3-0 Pantheon at 5 minutes into the game. Kongye is setting himself brilliantly to really just own this game.
Now look at this. I think he knew he was on a ward because Kongye immediately turns to the opening. Enzo gets the hook. They unload onto Whale and take him out of this fight. You think it's over here. Lil V does take a tower shot. He does get taken down. 665 then does Viego things and finds a big play, but Kongye will not be denied. So the J-Team jungler makes it out ahead. 3 kills to 0 deaths.
Yesterday or 2 days ago, we talked about this pick being a bit of a feast or famine pick, and right now 3 kills to his name.
He's
I think
feasting.
he's yeah, he is definitely feasting. This is a buffet.
He's looking for more right now. Not even level 6 yet. Does not have access to the Grand Starfall, but he will be able to jump on top of Whale should he stray too close. No summoners
coming
on the bot lane. Viego's coming back down for round 2, baby. This is a bloodbath in the making. Kongye starts up. They look for Whale. Viego's too far away. Whale's going down. That's the 4th kill for Kongye this game. Looking for Issue, and they're going to give the kill over to Lil V. Good guy Kongye wants to get his carry fed too.
And it's just J-Team on a better power split. Yes, now 665 is level 6. But Pantheon definitely hard spiking with those extra, with that extra gold and using it well, sending it over into his 80 carry. Now Samira is going to be sitting very comfortable as well. 2 kills to her name, and on the flip side, Whale is down 15 CS. He only has tier 2 boots to his name.
It's not looking good on the bottom side of the map right now for Meta Falcon team. The mid Gwen has not really been able to do enough to pressure Uniboy and not keep him down on farm. And Taco hasn't really been able to do much to the Gwen either, and that is trouble. I think it's going to be a rough ride out of this early game. Let's see. We're not done with the aggro down bot just yet. Keep on going with the plays. Kongye now on level 6 with the Grand Starfall should he need it. I think MFT realized that they have to play so safe from here on out.
Yeah, and because of the fact that they haven't been able to establish a lot of jungle pressure, they don't have necessarily the ward coverage to spot out where the Pantheon is if they wanted to. Right now, they do have a good ward onto the blue buff, so they, at the very least, know that, hey, it's going to be hovering around this bottom side, but it also means that they're kind of playing scared at all times towards this bottom half of the map.
They're going to be in for a very rough lane. 8.5 minutes, the gold lead at 2.5k. Rock starts out the solo onto the Herald. The map pressure they have just enables this right now. Kongye will be spotted as he roams up through red buff on that control ward. I don't think he even saw that. Moved a little too fast, keep his eye on the minimap.
Not too worried about that. I think it did get pinged out, so he'll go back and clear it out, but that's after he finishes off this Rift Herald. 200 gold into his pocket.
He's got a 9-minute core drinker. Kongye's fed, man.
He has so much extra gold because there's also that added local gold coming in from Rift Herald. He is just so fat. And now
he wants some more. He wants more. He's going. Okay, he's
might
not
be a little bit too much extra.
I don't. Yeah,
teleport coming
in. Okay.
Uniboy's
fine.
here.
He brought friends. Uniboy's here too. 3v3. They got this.
3v3 party. And the issue is they would have loved to try and claim that shutdown onto Kongye. It's just that he has so much damage. Like that early of a core drinker, even though, hey, 665 has the heal reduction coming in from the chain punk, it's not quite the same. And now he also has the ultimate to try and force this dive bot.
Boy, and they can do it. They knew this was pretty safe, and into the Inferno Drinker goes Lil V. He might be taking tower shots, but I don't think he's really going to care too much about it if they can still clear things through. And wow, the juggling of the tower aggro is just perfect. And at 10 minutes, they will be able to get the last of the plates, get this tower. They don't lose a man down bottom. And J-Team, where was this squad a few days ago?
Where was this team game 1, Pyra?
Yeah, they were snoozing. The alarm didn't go off, Night Stars. One of those days. But
yeah,
they woke up, finally. And yes, this is against MetaFalcon team. This is against one of the weaker teams in the playoffs. But nonetheless, they're putting on a masterclass here. This was a brilliant dive. Lil V goes in. That Inferno trigger's huge. Kongye then tags his way through.
Yep.
They juggle the aggro just at the right time. Uniboy starts tanking it. That's what I'm talking about. MetaFalcon team, they're going to have to work real hard to get back into this one already at 11 minutes.
503 Pantheon. It is absolutely absurd. In 665, he's been able to accumulate a lot of CS from the jungle position, but it's still the jungle role. It's still a Viego that's been nerfed about 30 million times. So you are still concerned of where the damage is going to come out from. And for MFT, even if you do get ahead with this Camille, with this Ahri pick, your next concern would be, well, what if the Pantheon shows up? Because he can show up at any time. He has a global ultimate. Where's my globe? We have none.
Yeah. Yeah, that's rough. Rock in the mid lane now. Kongye as well. They're going to keep Wen back. He's just not been able to do much in this lane. This mid lane has actually been quite a quiet affair. As Uniboy is going to be working a lot more with the roams around the map, and very active movements by J-Team. They know they have an advantage, and they know that this could be the clean sweep for them. A 3-0 would set them up for a matchup against the loser of CFO and PSG Talon. Not an easy feat, but nonetheless, they're looking on point right now as Issue jumps in, gets caught, burns it to get out. A tower should be falling pretty quickly if the push comes through. Rock feeling himself as he goes forward, and with that mini wave, they're going to chase MFT all the way back to the second one. They're going for the full dive at this point. They don't even care if that's a death rush. It's going to be the death of MFT. 665 goes down. Lil V unloading on him as Rock will take issue out of this one, and the dash into the back. Lil V finally falls on an overstep. Wen looking for a sniff in there, and Kongye goes straight into the back line to cut Wen off. Dodges out on the charm, but Wen is able to pepper him with enough damage to get away, but J-Team make out like bandits.
J-Team, they're just faster on the map because of the fact that they also have just such a strong jungler right now. This Pantheon, so fed, means that the side of MFT, they can't really cut corners when it comes to rotations, because if they ever face check into a Pantheon, they're just dead. As we get to see a replay of the situation, early flash coming in from 665, I think he could have stood his ground a little bit longer, but chooses to try and save as much HP at the early onset of the fight. And now the hook goes in, and look at this knockup. A 3-man knockup coming in from Enzo from that Nautilus ultimate. Also just buys so much time. That's so much time that MFT aren't doing damage, even though they have the help of Tower. And in the end, Wen will be able to walk out because of the fact he still has a tier 2 tower to his assistance. But this is just 14 minutes into the game, and we already have a 5k gold lead for J-Team. This is the J-Team that we expected against MFT, because again, J-Team, when it comes to playing against lower tier opponents, they curb stomp them like it's nobody's business.
And this is looking like a lot more what we expected. Only points I got to deduct from that last fight is Lil V just full sending it a little bit too hard on the Wild Rush. He forgot he wasn't playing Aurelia. That wasn't Blade Surge. But doesn't matter. Still working out well for this team. 5,000 gold lead at 14 minutes. The Dragon not really making too much of a diff themselves, but they will pick up another one. Or was it just that first cloud as they kind of left that one sitting for a while? Yeah. It was all this action happening early. It's all been about farming the champions. 11 kills in 14 minutes.
Whew. 11 kills for the
spicy game for J-Team. Yeah, starting to feel a little better. The J-Team fans have to be breathing some sighs of relief right now.
Absolutely. Trying to keep pace with what they had in the previous game, where they had to kill a minute. Of course, it started out a lot slower, and I feel like J-Team are going to finish with a lot more kills than minutes in the game this time around.
Ooh, That's a bold prediction, but I do think it could very well come to pass. Herald going to get started up here by Konge and Lil V. There's not a whole lot that Meta Falcon team can do. If we are going to put our heads together for this one, Nightstar, how does MFT get back into this game?
Really should have come down to the two-man game coming in from the solo laners in tandem with this Viego pick. And Taco, he is still going to get strong, right? He will outscale Rock in the 1v1 at the very least. The issue still comes to the fact that, well, they have to deal with Kongria coming in.
All right, Rock getting dove, but it's never just Rock, is it? 665 will be able to take him out, but Konge is chasing him down, and oh, he heartbreaks himself down. That's going to be the one-for-one trade on the dive, and Taco trying to get out of there, but Konge is not keen to let him go as he's on the chase, on the hunt. The hook shots put him out of range.
Oh, no matter how strong Taco is, even if they try and organize a play down in that bot lane, which is what they should have done, okay, fight in the mid lane.
Right back into it for the 2v2. While the Whale is starting to turn, he does get a stun off onto Lil V. That's a lot of damage being dealt by the Moonlight Vigil. Should be enough to drop him down. Big shutdown gain for the Aphelios. Much needed here. Konge, though, not keen to let this one go.
This is a big shutdown gold.
Taco on the cutoff. They might be able to find an answer here. He is going to flash away. Taco still following through, and when at his back as well, Uniboy going to be desperately trying to help, but unfortunately, he just feeds himself right in the waiting arms. MFT, they've set themselves up a conga line right now, and Whale does walk face first and ends it, but there's no follow-up damage. And that's going to be the end of that engage, but 2 kills taken by Meta Falcon team, and it couldn't have come at a better time for them.
Whoa, that is massive! Massive gold coming back into their pockets. Being able to get the shutdown onto Kongra, that is such a huge scalp and huge bounty to get off the table here. That the gold is able to bounce back just a little bit. It's still 4K, so it's still a pretty sizable lead, but a mistake coming in. Lil V, he overextends once more. He thinks he's fine, given that he has Enzo right around the corner, and it looked like he was, but then the stun lands, and then Whale, I mean, he's Aphelios, and Samira is much better at the full-on team fights and scrappiness, and then after that, you know, Kongra out on the side. Caught out a little bit out yonder, and Uniboy tries to help him out. Well, he's next one on the docket, and he's forced to flash, or so he won't have that summoner available.
Yeah, that was a pretty big set of events for MFT in their favor. They would have loved to get even more kills off it, but when you're so far behind, getting shutdown bounties, that feels so good. And now J-Team, let's see if they second guess themselves on this one. They were very far ahead, but really overextension, and the killer was Lil V getting just caught on the edge of the Braum ultimate. The Winter's Bite proc starting to kick in. That stun made all the difference.
And for MFT, the big windows they're going to have to try and exploit is when Kongra does use that Grand Starfall. Afterwards, they're going to have a little under 2 minutes to try and make plays happen. You saw that mid lane play was perfect because of the fact Kongra couldn't instantly join in the ideal position. Instead, he had to walk his way over, and he puts himself in a suboptimal spot, ends up getting chased out. So,
pick comp online, I suppose.
You know, that's the avenue of attack for MFT. Unfortunately, though, those windows are going to be hard to exploit because of how far J-Team are.
Super narrow, right? Dragon's going to be spawning with all the control they still have on the map. I do think J-Team should be able to pick this up. Just with one member, yeah, Konge can do it. Uniboy, though, is under fire, under tower, but he melts away the minion wave and even steals a Spirit Rush for himself. So not a whole lot of threat there. Lil V, has he been overextended once again? No, this time he's okay.
Pushing up in that bottom lane, getting reinforcements as well. They should be able to take this bot tower.
X-Tech Rift this time, too. I don't know if we're going to get to Soul the way this game is going. However, if we do, it's quite exciting, and Hex Gates are always fun to play around. And for a hypermobile team like J-Team, they're going to be feeling pretty good about using those as well to try and get some flank angles. Taco taking a little bit of damage from the snip from the Scissors of Rock, and Mini Wave is cut, so that will be the end of it. Teleport going to get expended by Wen just to get a little faster to the Mini Wave. I think he thought Konge was going for a push.
At the very least, Pyra, the scaling is in favor of MFT.
Yeah, they got
problem
Nephelios, they got a
is-
Camille.
Yeah, hey, can they get to that scaling point is the real question. Because
Yeah, this is still big gold deficit.
you know, again, you mentioned it, Camille, Aphelios, but also the Braum, right? When you're pretty much 5 melees, Samira is kind of like half a melee, right? It's so hard to navigate around this Braum pick once he throws down the wingers, right? Bite, his ultimate, it's eats up so much of your space. And then against Taco, you know, he will get to a point where he can just constantly one-shot you, and if you don't have the range to kite him out, he's going to be a big problem to deal with. And then, because of how big Taco is going to get, it makes accessing those resets a lot easier for the Viego pick.
That's true. J-Team, you know, with the dive setup they have to be careful not to bait themselves into a bad situation, give MFT some of that gold back again. They are setting up map control. Baron, of course, will be a big objective to look at. It's a little early to try and go for it, even with the lead they have. Dragon's still 3 minutes away. Rock could be jumped on by 665 and Taco here.
Same play.
Yeah, but look, the rest of the team is
yeah.
coming to the rescue. Who's baiting who?
Yeah, 4 people hovering. Might just get Uniboy if he walks into the bush.
He doesn't know. Oh, he does!
Oh.
No, he actually thought about this one right now. They're
Okay,
gonna set
here comes
this
the
up as
reinforcements, though.
MFT realize, oh no, we've been had, the bamboozle. Taco getting stunned up
Doesn't
in
have
the Dragon
flash.
Pit. Nowhere for him to go, and yeah, he couldn't hookshot his way out to safety. That's a big death timer. And Uniboy steals the Hextech ultimatum to boot.
Yep.
He's looking for 665. He won't find him.
As we said, their timing windows are after the Grand Starfall happens. And unfortunately for them, they can't force out the Starfall unless if they're out of position to begin with.
They're gonna force that fight. There we go. Hextech ultimatum onto Wen, and he's buying a bit of time for himself, and the stasis will be able to flash back to his team. Nonetheless, not enough tools. They're going to get a second wind effort here. Konge looking for an in, as well as Rock is just tanking all the damage. The teleport comes through as Taco back up off cooldown, but already they've lost Whale and Issue. So what can they do here? Konge going low, but he's not out of this one just yet. Taco is pretty big in this, but the team is going to be melting through. They chase forward. They find themselves the wipe, and now they're going to push in to end it right here, right now. They've got the damage. Lil V popping off on this Samira, and J-Team fully awakened.
Oh, this could just be it right here. They've got enough minions, but the death timers might not quite be there for them. They're going to go ahead, take the Hex Gates out.
Play it safe. It is low death timers. You don't want to send it right on back.
Yeah. And the other thing is they don't have enough. They don't have more kills than minutes yet. Fire. So
that's true. Your prediction hasn't come true. They
need two more team fight wipes.
They're playing for your call, Nightstar, and I appreciate it. J-Team trying to do right by us. But let's see how this fight started again. This is a great hook from the Nautilus. And even though there was a good turn in, a stolen Hextech ultimatum means Wen is just neutralized, and not a whole lot they can do here without the Camille until she gets back up and teleports.
Here comes Kogan
with another hook, another brilliant one. Whale and Issue are already gone.
Yeah. Whale once more caught out of position, exploring a little bit too far upwards, knowing that, hey, there's so many low health bars, but he is an 80 character. He doesn't last long if he gets caught by any sort of CC, and that's exactly what happens. Unfortunately, when Taco, not quite enough to clean up the rest of the fight. You imagine if this was a bit more in an even game, that they're not 10k gold behind, maybe the Camille is that win condition in the team fight to start cleaning up. It's just the wallet differential is just too big. Oh, there goes Kongre. He's gonna go on in. Maybe they've overextended themselves here. As Wen able to get the first kill. That will be a reset. 665 stuck into the back line, and now the Samira goes forward, gets the triple kill, should be the quadra. Uniboy seals the deal, taking the last kill, but that's going to be J-Team getting themselves the clean wipe 4 or 5 for 1 or 4 for 1 here. It's all on to Taco. MFT, they still looking for that first organizational win in the playoffs. We'll have to wait for next year. That's J-Team getting the 3-0 over MFT, and this was the form we expected to see coming into playoffs. Unfortunately, took them a little bit to awaken. But at long last, long have we awaited, J-Team not quite out of championship status. That was definitely not the transition there. But there we go. But yeah, Pyra unfortunately missed the end of the fun. So you're just going to be stuck with me. Regardless, J-Team, this was the bounce back we needed to see. Bot lane still looking a little bit rough, but against this MFT bot lane, I don't think it was ever going to be a long-term issue throughout the series. It was going to take a lot of effort. And MFT, they weren't able to find the solutions to the problem. They tried some pretty bold things, right? Game 1, pretty closely contested. Game 2, they went all in on the jungle bans. And then game 3, they went almost all in on the AD carry bans. So they banned out a lot of Lil V's champions. They made a go of it. He still found himself with Samira, and they still had a composition where they were able to allow Samira to flourish. So yeah, we get to see Pyra chilling out right next to me, you know, looking pretty fabulous, might I add. Unfortunately, he's having some tech issues, just like we did at the start of the series. Yeah. Hi guys. We get a look at the draft. If this, I think when you bring in Wen, one of the big things is you're looking for a big roaming champion from him, as he's not the strongest laner. He goes ahead, picks up the Ahri pick, and it felt like games 2 and 3 should have been more of a juxtaposition, right? We have Honk 2 play the Ahri, more of a laning champion, and instead we have Wen play the Galio. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out that way. You can't draft and then pick the players afterwards. But yeah, so I have learned who we are going to interview later on after the post-game breakdown. And it's going to be Enzo, so it should be pretty exciting. And of course, made his transition over to the support role this year, or at least had a full year this time around. And he really grew into the role. So I'm excited to hear what he has to say as we get our post-game stats shortly. This one was really not even close, right? It was J-Team start to finish. For MFT, you know, you tried some things. Again, game number 2, 5-ban jungle. Game number 3, 4-ban bot lane. Nice try. And you gotta respect them for the effort. Still, I think this is a very good learning experience for, remember, this is a collegiate team, very young players, never been to this level of competition, so there's still a lot to take from it, and it's just a matter of, from a program perspective, how can we take those experiences and grow the program? So we get to see replay of some key moments during this game. Kongrye was coming out to a very early advantage. Felt like there was no going back after he gets 3 kills into his hands. Side of MFT, they tried, you know, they had the strong top side, tried to turn to play. Unfortunately, this bot half of the map weren't able to hold up their side of the bargain, As here was a play that did go in their favor. Lil V wanders up a little bit too far here, gets 3 stacks from the Braum, and eventually eats that 4th one. And Whale still in Philios, doing a lot of damage, putting out a lot of damage, and secures a kill. I think we might be having Pyra joining back with us soon.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you for taking care of
A
that
bit of
one.
a robot,
I know.
unfortunately.
Oh man, I'm coming back into this. Give me a.
So we're gonna slowly ease Pyra back into it. But this was one of those plays that did work out, right? Where they were able to punish Konya off of that ult timing, and he has to walk all the way back into the mid lane to join the fight. They get the kill onto Lil V, and then they're able to turn their attention over to Konya. But overall, the punishable windows just weren't there. Hey, there we go.
I'm back.
Pyra's back.
Thank you, Mr. Nightstar, for covering. It was a little bit of a touchy moment, but I know you handled that one. And wow, yeah, we had the end of it. I knew we were going that way, but you know what? I think the internet gods wanted to give you a win moment, Nightstar. So you know what? There we go, and that's how it ended at the end of it all. And big pop-off game for JT.
Yep. To really cap this series. 25.5-minute game 3. It was a 24-minute game number 2. Again, if this was, regular season J Team form, this series shouldn't have even gotten to the 28-minute mark, and games 2 and 3 really showcased that. As I don't think it was ever a question, Pyro, right? It was Konya on this Pantheon pick. He went 3-0-2 in like 2 minutes of the game. Oh, I think we may have lost Pyro once more. But yes, see guys, Konya just smacked MFT so hard, even knocked out Pyro's internet. It was just that bonkers. So, hey, we get graphics Pyro once more. But yes, we should be sending it to a break soon. And until then, you get to just deal with me talking about how amazing J Team were in that game number 2 and 3, and that the real test is coming in the next match, where they will face the loser of, taking my brain here, CFO PSG, who are definitely not the same level as MFT. So that will be it from us at the desk for now. We're going to send it over the break, but when we come back, it will be Jenny interviewing Enzo from JT.
I've been waking up feeling like nothing you know. I've been running in a dream, but my legs have nowhere to go. There's a welcome sign on your doorstep, sunny but it's cold inside. I will melt away, 'cause I'm noticed all alone. There's something I gotta know. Would you walk alone? Would you sell your soul? Would you wake up the voices for someone you love? Would you let them know? Or would you break your fall? I wanna know. We're not like other people. We revel in our pain and soak up the sadness. We're not like other people. We're never gonna change our tune. Spell unspoken. Lift me up, bring me down. It's not playing, it's not crawling. Cause it's the way you move.
Hello，欢迎来到赛后采访，我是主持人 Li Ju。首先恭喜台北这一战队顺利的拿下今天本场比赛胜利。Hey guys, I'm Riju and welcome to the post-match winner interview. Today we've got J-Team support Enzo. Can you introduce yourself, please? 那今天邀请到辅助位的 Enzo 选手来到采访席，先跟大家打个招呼吧。
Hello， 大家好，我是 J Team 的辅助 Enzo。
So first, I want to talk about your match the day before versus BYG. What went wrong that series, and did you suspect before that game that you guys might actually lose? 那首先，想跟 Enzo 选手稍微聊一下关于前天败给 BYG 的那一场比赛，那时候是出了什么问题呢？然后老实说，那天赛前你们有没有考虑到会败给 BYG 呢？
在对 BYG 前，我们包括教练团所有选手应该都是还蛮有信心会赢下的，只是确实在当天比赛的时候，可能是心态上面跟操作上面都出了很大的问题，就发生了一些我们平常训练赛不会发生的失误，所以才会输给 BYG。
So he said that before the series versus BYG, honestly, actually, the team as well as their coaching staff had a lot of confidence that they would be able to take that series versus BYG. But he thinks that on the day itself, the team made a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes, both in terms of mechanical skill as well as probably in terms of mentality, that usually these mistakes don't happen in scrims, and he thinks that those mistakes were why they dropped that series versus BYG on that day itself. So I want to ask next, of course, how did the team then bounce back from that loss, and what sort of adjustments did you guys make in the last 2 days? 那你们在这2天是做了什么样的调整呢？
在这2天做的比较多是心态上面的调整吧，就在打 BYG 的时候确实有点不太冷静，然后比较多抗激进的操作，所以失误也比较多。那教练团也有跟所有选手做沟通，说接下来比赛就是尽量冷静一点，不要那么急，就慢慢玩的话就能轻松的赢了。对，所以我们这几天做的比较多就是心态上面的调整。
So he said that in the last 2 days, what they mostly adjusted was in terms of their thinking and in terms of their mental, because he thinks that when they were playing versus BYG, they were playing a bit too rushed, they were playing a bit too fast, and that actually caused them to make more mistakes in game. So what their coaching staff had told them for the last 2 days was just to focus on playing a stable, calm game, and if they did that, then they wouldn't make those mistakes and they would be able to win their following series easily. So in game number 2 today, Meta Falcon 5-banned out jungle, and then Kongyue had to whip out the Sejuani that he has never played before this season. So I want to ask, is that something that J-Team has practiced especially for playoffs, or was that something that you guys just had to get forced to pick today? 然后接下来问题就是关于今天第2局，就是被 MFT 5班打野位的时候，会不会是在你们的战队的预测中吗？然后空月又拿出了这赛季从未玩过的猪女，是不是 JT 是你们是逼不得已才选的吗？还是说你们是为了季后赛而最近有在练的
5边打野这方面有想过，因为空月本来就是在我们队里面最强的选手嘛，所以5边打野也是正常的，不变的话对手玩不了。那猪女也是他之前在打比赛也比较常用到的角色，在打去年前年的比赛都有用过嘛，所以其实我们也没有特别准备，就是这是他的拿手脚，我们就当下试了就直接拿出来了。
So he says that personally, he thinks that Kongyue is the best player on J-Team. So he thinks that if the opposition teams don't try to 5-ban out Kongyue's jungle, then something has gone wrong. He thinks that it's kind of within the team's expectations that Kongyue will get a lot of jungle bans during the games. He says that even though Kongyue hasn't played Sejuani this summer, it's a champion that he's played quite a fair bit in the past as well, last year as well as the previous year before that. So it's not something that Kongyue doesn't know how to play, but it's also not where J Team like has picked something that Kongyo is really good at, but he has had experience playing Sejuani. So next, I want to ask you, because in today's series, you played both tanks as well as squishy supports, and you played both of them pretty well. So is there a type that you prefer, or do you think that you're better at one type of support more? 那接下来想问的就是今天这个系列赛中，你分别拿出了硬辅和软辅，然后两个都使用的相当上手。那恩卓选手个人有偏好的类型吗？
我应该是比较偏向软辅去选的，但还是主要是看教练团决定要硬辅还是软辅做决定。如果队伍是需要硬辅的，那我当然就会玩硬辅。对。
So he says that for him personally, he actually prefers to play those squishy ranged supports. But he said, of course, depending on what the team needs and what the coaching staff tell him that he needs to pick, if they tell him that he needs to pick a tank, then of course he's going to make that type of decision for the team. So next, I want to ask, because you got the most number of MVPs on J Team during the entire of the regular summer season, plus there's support MVPs, which we all know are harder to get than any other lane. Also, the analysts and casters have been praising your performance recently, saying that you've improved a lot since spring. So I want to ask if you personally feel that you've gone through that type of metamorphosis to become the player you are now. 然后就在例行赛，台北 J 战队中，就是恩硕选手是拿到最多 MVP，而且是偏少见的辅助 MVP。然后今年夏季赛，恩硕选手也表现得相当亮眼。然后最近直播台也有一直在夸，你说你从春季赛到现在，就是真的是进步的非常多。然后你个人有感觉到自己有在蜕变吗？
觉得自己跟春季相较起来是有进步了，但是应该没有到大家说的相当亮眼，就是还有很长一段路要走，也有很多东西要改进的。主要还是因为队友的表现也很好，所以我才有可以拿到 MVP 的机会。对。
好谦虚. So he says that he thinks that he has improved, of course, since the spring split, but he doesn't think that it's to the level where people have been constantly praising him and saying that there's such a huge difference. So he does feel that he has improved. He thinks that there's still a long way for him to go. There are still many things that he can improve on. He thinks that it's also because his teammates, because of his teammates' good performances, that have allowed him to look good and to also bag those support MVPs. So next, I want to ask as well how J Team decides who to field in the top lane, because you've seen the entire split, even in playoffs, that the team has chosen to field Driver as well as Rock. What difference does it make to J Team's play style whether you have either player in the top lane? 那目前队伍先发上阵的名单是如何决定的呢？而且两位选手的上场，你认为在队伍风格上会带来什么样的不同呢？
上阵，我们上路先发上阵的名单，其实就是看空月想要跟谁打，我们就决定让谁上啊。没有，其实主要还是要看训练赛的表现跟团练的表现嘛。然后两位选手的上路玩的坦克跟斗士其实都差不多嘛，我觉得只是可能有时候在打 BO5这种类型的心态上会受影响的话，会做轮替，对。
So he said that the team decides who to field top based off of who Kongyer wants to play with that game or that series. And then he said, no, hang on. It's actually more than that. We also take into account recent scrim performance and which whether Rock or Driver has been doing better. He said that also in terms of the longest series, like the best of fives, they also want to take into account like who might have the better type of mentality to play in the longer series. So your next match is going to be an elimination match versus either PSG or CFO, both strong teams. Which team would you rather face? How do you think it will go? 那下一场就是要对上 PSG 或者 CFO， 然后也是个生死局。那恩佐选手个人会比较希望遇到哪支战队呢？觉得会是什么样的对决？
应该会比较想要遇到 PSG 吧，因为相对 CFO， 可能 PSG 上路的角色池也相当受限一点，对，可能火龙的角色池会比较少一点。那当然主要还是我们自己的表现是最重要的啦，就是不管遇到哪一队，只要是正常的，我觉得我们只要是 慢慢玩，跟今天的表现差不多，应该都能轻松拿下。
So he said that they would, for him personally, he would rather face off versus PSG because he feels that if you're comparing top laners, he thinks that Hanabi in comparison has a bit of a more shallow champion pool. But he said that, of course, what's more important instead of who they're going to face is how their own team performs. And he says that he thinks that if J Team can perform next week the way that they performed it today, then he thinks that they'll be able to easily take the series next week. Lastly, I want to ask, was J Team satisfied with your third place finish during the regular season? What is the goal for summer? 那最后一个问题就是，对例行赛获得的第3名满意吗？然后季后赛的目标会是什么？
第3名的成绩相对来讲一定是比较不满意的嘛，所以因为我们一开始也是以前2为目标的，但既然拿到第3名了没关系，所以我们季后赛一定会是以冠军为目标，而且我们一定会拿到冠军的。
好, so he said that, of course, the fact that they ended in third, they weren't too satisfied with that result because, of course, they were aiming to end first or second. He said that the goal for summer is that it's fine that they ended third. He said that the goal for summer playoffs right now is that they want to end first, and he said that they will definitely come in first and be the summer split champions. All right, thank you so much, Enzo, for the interview. Of course, good luck for the rest of playoffs. 好的，那非常感谢Enzo选手接受今天的赛后采访，当然要祝台北这一战队在下周的比赛加油，拜拜。
Thank you very much, Ririchu. And hey, I'm back at the end of it all. Thank you for covering everything, Nightstar. But yeah, really good words from Enzo there. I love a little bit insight into the J Team mindset, picking things back up, and also the reason why they swap top lane sometimes. It's all about what Konge wants. It's fair.
Yeah, clearly. It's all about this jungler who, as mentioned by Enzo, is just... If he isn't demanding 5 bans, I don't know what you're doing. I don't think that's actually the answer, guys. But when it comes to Konge's performance, he finally did step it up. It felt like he was on a bit of a off split, but when it counts, he pops in and really carried these last 2 games.
He popped off for sure. Well, with that, we have our bracket set up a little bit further down the line. J-Team moving forward will face the loser of that big matchup, the rematch of the Summer Split Finals between PSG Talon and CTBC Flying Oyster. We, of course, already knew that Deep Cross Gaming and Beyond are going to play each other, and the loser will go down to the lower bracket there. But what we still have left on the board, Frank, is Impunity and Frank Esports. That's going to be played out tomorrow, Sunday, August 21st.
Yeah, that's on the docket tomorrow, and hopefully we get to see yet another 3-0. This time, not for the J-Team fans, but for Frank Esports fans, or mainly just me, I suppose.
I think there's definitely quite a few fans, but you are the Frank Esports fan.
Yeah, you know what? Eventually, I'm sure I'm going to get one of those Frank Esports jerseys so I can wear it on broadcast and really just scream the fandom. Maybe if they also have something a little bit more professional, so I can wear it.
Yeah, just like the logo that just can like put on
like a
polo
polo.
Or something.
Yeah,
ooh, that's
polo,
cool. I like
or
that.
Like
merch design.
A giant pin that I can put on my vest. Either of those, great.
Gotta get on it, Frank. Absolutely. Well, that is it for us. It was a fast day. The 3-0 J-Team are absolutely back. Can't wait to see how well they do. But don't forget to join us tomorrow for Frank Esports and Impunity. For now, that is going to be us signing off on behalf of the whole broadcast team and everybody behind the scenes. Thank you so much for watching. Be good to each other, and we will see you tomorrow.